Hi, I'm Jim Wylde, Director of Career and Graduate Student Services at the Elliott School. Welcome to Leveraging Your Networks. As we begin this presentation, the world is coming together as never before to face the greatest global health crisis of our era. Scientists and health professionals from around the globe are joining people like you, emerging leaders with unique skills and talents. You're diving into your graduate international affairs education at a very important time. In addition to your quest to deepen your subject matter expertise, this is also a critical time in development of relationships and networks. Your experience in Washington, D.C. will help you to begin an important cycle, going from global to local to online and back. The people you meet and how you integrate with them over the years may be the single most important factor in your professional success. You'll meet professionals from public, private, and nonprofit sectors, from the World Bank Group to Africare to the CIA to the State Department. I'm here to help you get connected. We also have a great team of coaches and advisors who will support you as you move forward. Today, I'd like to take a few moments to set the stage with some key concepts to help you get started. This blue marble may look familiar to you. In fact, this picture is called the Blue Marble photo. It was taken in connection with the Apollo 17 mission. It's the view of the Earth, taken on December 7th, 1972. The important thing about this photo is that it portrays the Earth as a one whole. Before this time, people really didn't see the Earth as a whole in the same way. Since that time, since 1972, a lot has happened. As the Elliott School has grown, we're part of a new global communication information systems network of learning and academia and also of relationships. One of the things you would think would be normal and natural is that as the Earth becomes smaller, as we become more interconnected, that we'd be communicating really efficiently. The fact is that despite our growth in connectedness, we haven't necessarily related in a way that helps us to be a global community. Research done by Philip Zimbardo at the Shyness Institute shows that the percentage of people who self-identify as shy has gone from 40% in the 1970s to about 60% today. Well, that's interesting information, and it may fuel your interest in connecting more face to face. We have to have a global perspective and be able to relate with others face to face. What's the purpose of networking anyway? Well, it's to build relationships grounded in trust. This in turn strengthens your leadership. You can also do a number of things with networking. You can research career and employment options that you might not have thought about. You can find jobs that weren't advertised or discuss job search strategies with real people. You can identify skills and qualifications for careers and positions. And you can learn about company and organizational culture. The first thing you want to do is to identify your network. And that may mean going low tech. Just take a blank sheet of paper and draw out a mind map, something like this. You'll see that your network includes the people you know already, your friends, classmates, roommates, your family. It can be anybody. It can be a close family or distant family. Here at GW, it is faculty, alumni. We have a new network called GW Connect that we'll want you to get involved in. Other faculty colleagues, it could be former present employers, and it doesn't matter if it's the State Department or Wendy's Hamburgers. There, you've known the people, you've performed in those settings, and you can connect with people that way. So take a minute, take out a piece of paper at your leisure, and start thinking about who you already know. Okay, so once you've got your groundwork complete and thinking about your network and who's in it, think about who you admire as far as people who seem to network well. Here are some examples of great networkers. First of all, Henry Kissinger has a strong reputation as somebody who reaches out across networks. He, of course, has a lot of respect in the foreign affairs world, but he also reaches across to arts, entertainment, journalism, academia. So he's a real networker. Brene Brown, of course, is well known as a leadership and coaching thought leader. George Meyer was featured in Adam Grant's book Give and Take as a giverish networker. He is a writer for The Simpsons, and in his world on the West Coast, he would connect people with resources whenever he could, and was thought of as somebody very generous, which I hope you'll keep in mind. This notion of generosity in networking is very important. On the lower left-hand corner, Gary Liu, who is CEO of the South China Morning Post. He's a man who's connected internationally, and in these very important coronavirus times, the China-U.S. connection is essential. Yeah, and in the world of journalism, also to the right of him is Catherine Graham, who is one of the most classic long-term admired women in Washington. She's gone now, but she was head of the Washington Post, of course, and set a standard of civility and respect and conversation and discourse. So another great model. Vernon Jordan there in the middle from the Clinton years, very well thought of as a networker. And then finally, Eleanor Roosevelt, who was able to establish many important relationships over time. To build your network over time, you can start by connecting with safe people you know. You might call it low-hanging fruit. And going back to our mind map diagram that we looked at earlier, those can be friends, family, previous employers, people from school, undergraduate, so those kinds of people. And here at GW, we have ways that you'll connect on a day-to-day basis, and those will be people that you can get on LinkedIn with. You can build as far as your network of relationships. Use known circles to reach more and more contacts. Here we have listed some relevant ways to connect. LinkedIn, of course. GW alumni, there is what we call Career Connect. You can look it up online. We'll be providing more information. It's a new and dynamic way to quickly connect with alumni. Professional organizations, events, campus events, informational interviews, all of those will help you to move forward in your career life and networking ability. So now that you've drawn your mind map and you have some great networkers in mind, you're ready to leverage your network for employment. First, you want to look inside as you develop your plan. Start with what Plato called knowing thyself, know yourself, and then look at outside organizations that you think would be of interest, and start to think of ways to bridge your own interest with organizations in the market. Get specific about your skills, your targets, and then if there are materials involved or emails or verbal messaging, just pull it together in a way that's like a brand. And you've got to have a plan for at least how you start out and how you explore. You don't have to have all the answers right now. You don't have to know exactly where you're going, but you want to have some idea of where you're headed so that you can meet the right people and have some good conversations and be able to develop relationships that will help you to secure employment. So, as an international affairs professional, there's one thing that's really important. You want to start to be specific. One of the things about the field and the nature of the profession is that it's easy to go into global statements or say, I'm interested in everything international, and it can just sort of diffuse your message. At the same time, you don't want to be overly specific. But in any case, just practice answering some of these questions. Know what you're interested in. The World Bank, the recruiter there has said you should have three sectors of lending interest in your hip pocket. You should be able to say why you're interested in these areas of of that organization. Not just say I'm interested in everything. I'm interested in international development or whatever. You got to get specific. Think about what you want to do. You can wear different hats for different organizations or people. Always be thinking about how you can help other people. That's a big part of networking. A lot of people think just what's in it for me, but really it's about relationships over time, giving information, and helping. Be able to talk about industry interests, why you're choosing your major, what you do well, all of those things you have learned over the years. As an undergraduate, we know you've had preparation and career development, but as you get on in your career, you become increasingly adept at being able to be specific, describe what you do, and qualify it, quantify it, be able to describe it to employers. If what do you do? Well, if you could do anything, what would it be? What are your career goals? So you can just sort of think it through, jot some answers to yourself. You don't want to be too scripted, but at the same time, you want to show a certain degree of focus. Once you've done your preparation and you have your brand, you can be your brand and you can lift it into the world of social media. So this acronym LIFT stands for LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. LinkedIn, of course, is a little bit more formal. It's sort of the industry standard place you want to connect, and you want to use that a lot during your time in Washington. Facebook is fun, but there are also some professional ways that you can connect. You can also consider your students, your fellow students, as friends and Facebook people, so that you develop relationships over time. Finally, Twitter is fast, it's fun, something that you'll want to consider too in developing and furthering your messaging and your brand. So developing your LinkedIn presence really means taking the mind map that you developed earlier and putting it into a more formal framework. So just think about who are the family members and friends, professors, advisors that you want to include in your network. You can send out a simple, straightforward, personalized invitation to each of them so that you can stay in touch over time. Finally, come join us in Graduate Student Services. We're up on the sixth floor, right next to the Graduate Lounge. GSS has all of its services under one roof, integrating course and program planning with professional development and career goals. And we give you a strategic advantage so that you can put it all together and progress through your program and job search. So we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks very much, everybody.